All right, folks. Well, if you didn't, I don't know which video is first for What's Your Story, if this will be my first What's Your Story of 2024 or my second. I don't know. We're recording two that will be for the first of the year, but it may be a little surreal for these folks coming in so early before their video drops. But here we are. We got our schedules to line up. As Sassy said, it is a Christmas miracle to have the Cannolis in the house. That's right. Cannolisasquatch, Mrs. Sassy's in the house. Thank you so much for hanging out with the old man. I appreciate it so much.
Of course, anytime. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, our schedule's finally lined up perfectly, so it is a Christmas miracle. It really is what the season's about, I think. I don't know, that's what they tell me.
I know. So, yeah, as many people have joked, yes, I do pre-record in advance, especially whenever I take so much time off for the holidays. I completely unplug for this kind of stuff. So this will be stuff that will drop when people are at home. You are watching this. No, this was, you see the Christmas tree. Mrs. Sassy's got the tree up right there.
I do.
See.
Ready to go.
So, but yeah, here we are. And, I thought it was fascinating as I kind of like, all right, let me look, because I've been following you guys. I mean, really, Cannoli, I've been following you since the get-go. I mean, I don't even know how many few, I mean, it was early on. We crossed paths and kind of been connecting a little bit here and there and stuff like that. What a journey for you, man. I rewatched a couple of your oldest videos. And by the way, there are gaps in his timeline. He's deleted videos. I can tell.
I did have to do that to rearrange some things with the channel, which we can get into later. But yeah.
Oh, it was fun watching your true self, though. Like, you just knew you should be doing something like this, and it was just you talking, going, I don't know if it's working or not.
Yeah.
As many of us have done. Like, it's not like I'm picking on the man. The man, it's like many of us. Right. What was that journey like in those first few months where you're like, you were doing it, getting your feet wet, learning that there is a software, there's a way to do it, you had a friend coming on regularly with you, that kind of thing. What was those first few months like, though? What gave you the bug, so to speak?
It was a wild ride. I remember during COVID, I was like everybody else, I was starting to get an itch. Then I was like, you know what, I can't do this. I'm not going to be good on camera by myself. I like, who's going to want to listen to me when there's so many voices already on this platform? And I was like, you know what? Finally, actually, Sassy yelled at me one day. She's just like, you know what? You need to do it. She goes, I'm sick of you just complaining. Not complaining, but just talking the stuff out. I love hearing it from you, but there's got to be people online that share the same kind of, feelings you do, and your knowledge. You know, you have you're passionate about certain things. You love movies. You love games. So just talk about it, sports. So I was like, fine. So I just did I had a crappy laptop at the time. And then I was like, let me just try something. Let me get my face and see how it comes out. And I will admit, it was a little nerve-wracking at first. I wasn't sure if I was going to do pre-recorded live streams. And then you watch people do this, and you're like, I can kind of do that, right? You follow this similar pattern to what they're doing, especially with live streams. But when you're actually in it and you see that record thing come up, that red light, you're like, oh, this is for real. And I'm talking to a big audience here, hopefully eventually even bigger. But to be honest, it just felt very natural. And that's not to sound conceited. I just loved it. I was like, I just forgot that there was going to be a group of people watching this. I knew it was going to be a small audience at first. But you're right. I just wanted to be. Authenticity is a big thing sometimes that's missing from the platform. And I was like, you know what? I want to show people my true self, whether they like it or not, whatever. And here we are now, all this time later. And I have a great co-host. I've met so many awesome people in the community, you and Vex and all these people. I never thought in a million years I would get to this point, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then, like you said, I brought people on with me to kind of ease the blow a little bit. And it was going to be more podcast style. But I felt very natural doing live streams. My biggest weakness is pre-recorded stuff. And it still is. I'm like a deer in the headlights. I don't know what is wrong with me. It just frees up when it comes to pre-recorded stuff. Live streaming, natural as can be. And I love doing it. But yeah, it was an interesting start. And when I do go look back, I'm like, wow, I've come a long way. But I wouldn't mind kind of doing some more of that stuff again eventually, just talking about everyday things, not just pop culture, but everyday things. So it's been great.
And then you, Miss Sassy, Which, by the way, is just fantastic. By the way, that you were just Mrs. Cannoli for so long, and then one day you were Mrs. Sassy, and I hadn't gotten the stream yet or whatever. It's just so it's yes, folks. Those of you who don't know at home, keeping score. Yes, I do listen to almost everyone at 1.5 to 2 speed. These two I've been following since the get go, and it's like I'm like, wait, I've missed something. But
Something changed.
You always seemed, first off, before you were actually doing your own. There are streams and shows, which, by the way, is just the best, of her yelling at him in the background. No, you can't do that. And then it was like you were scheduling, I believe it was in May, and you're like, no, we have a date. You can't be scheduling. It was
our wedding anniversary.
Anniversary. Okay, even better. Just the best. Yes, yeah. What gave you a little bit of the bug to go, you know what, I want to do my own, or did someone just kind of nudge you to do your own? How did it sort of evolve? I don't want to say, you guys are almost like a spinoff, a successful spinoff. It's like, I don't know, you're like All in the Family and the Jeffersons. That's a
great analogy.
They're actually compared to.
I mean, Vex might object. She might want to be Jeffersons, and you'd have to be something else. But I don't have a third one on the top of my head.
We're like
right
Peg and Al Bundy, to be honest with you.
People call it polite a Peg and Al Bundy.
Yes. So I started off with Cannoli as like the background person. I would do I was really big into doing themed backgrounds for different holidays for the podcast that he would do, and I would fill in if he needed somebody. And there was one instance in particular where when did you go to Houston? Was it a September?
It was late September.
Yeah. And he was like, well, I can't do my Friday night show. I was like, I'll do it. I'll host it for you. And I did it, and I had fun. And then, Vex and I decided to do some sort of female podcast on Cannoli's channel. And we kicked that around a little bit. And, I just kind of got my feet wet. But I did a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I did his thumbnails, and I would help him with his editing. And and I was Mrs. Cannolisasquatch, and we went to Vegas. We did the Vegas meetup, and we did the Geeks and Gamers Neurotic meetup. Made a lot of contacts, made a lot of noise. I made it onto Friday Night Tights because I made an impression with Ryan Kennel. And I was like, it was pretty cool. We met a lot of great people that inspired us. And it wasn't long after that, Cannoli fired me, and he said, I'm done with you. You're not allowed on my channel. It's time for you to start your own.
It was for her own good, though. I was like,
you were showing him up. Let's just be honest.
Well, the problem was,
I was like, you're good at this.
He's like, you made Friday Night Tights. They don't really know who I am. You might as well do something. No, honestly, we both kind of made an impression because Cannoli is 6'5". He has a big Sasquatch on his shirt. We wore our merch. And people just knew our name. And we had Cannoli wasn't even on his channel wasn't even a year old. In May, it was, we went in April, and his channel launched in, I think your year anniversary was July. So we were still really new to this. And at that point, I was doing the female perspective on Cannoli's channel.
Right.
And I had talked to Steph, my nerdy home, and I was like, I'd love for you to be on the show. And, so we did make that connection. And that was the first female perspective I launched on my channel. Anyway, so I decided that I would launch my channel for Pride Month. Because
it's right before Pride Month, actually. It was right Memorial Day.
Weekend,
And I decided to launch my channel with a movie review, a very, very green movie review, because I love The Little Mermaid so much. I was so angry that they were messing up my childhood that I felt like it was necessary to do a movie review. So I launched my channel with a movie review. And I have to say, 3.4 thousand views on a very green new channel. It really boosted my confidence. And I decided to start doing a Sunday stream. And I just talked about things that aggravated me. I'm really into the mental health. I'm into how things affect our kids. I'm into the trans movement and how it's really, hurting our society and our kids. And there's a lot of things I'm passionate about because I am a mother of a daughter who has mental health issues. So I started streaming every Sunday. And then Cannoli's like, I think maybe we should keep your name the same, but change it a little bit so you can kind of, you know, separate a little bit more from me.
Yeah, be your
So
own.
I put out a poll, and Mrs. Sassy Sasquatch was born from no other than Hypnotic. Hypnotic helped name me.
There you go. They
So
gotta go through
Mrs.
the
Sassy
credit.
Sasquatch was born, and we started Mrs. Sassy Sunday streams, and I stream every Sunday at noon. And within the next couple weeks, probably after the first of the year, I've had an avatar drawn up by AJ, and it's awesome. And so I will be in Sasquatch form along with Cannolisasquatch, and I still fall under the umbrella of Cannolisasquatch Productions. So
Yeah.
I just I have a lot to say. I like to talk. I'm very opinionated, and that's how I got here. So it was fun. It was a fun journey.
How is the dynamic of the husband and wife YouTuber thing go in your house right now? Like, how is that? It's been a minute. You've been going strong now for like 7 months or so independently.
Yep.
You know, so now you've got, between you guys, you got a good year and a half or so of like a lot of this time being spent doing the tube. What's that like as a married couple?
I think it's actually fun. You know, a lot of people do ask, like, how do you make it work? So when her Sunday streams are going on in the area that I'm in now is where she does the show on Sunday, because it's a little bit of better equipment. So I just
our podcast area. I turned, in all fairness, he's sitting in what used to be our dining room.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
kitchen
small
table.
house. We had to make do with what we had, but like so what she does on it works fine actually, because we do bounce ideas off each other. We do similar things, but a little different. Like she does the movie reviews when she wants to catch a movie and do the review. I don't, but I mean the pre-recorded stuff. But I do like it because we've learned to create a schedule that works for us. She will be on my Mondays, my Mischief Mayhem movie show sometimes on Monday if we pick a movie she likes. So if the Friday Cannoli Connection thing we do together once or twice a month, interviewing creators, like we've learned to adapt to it. It is busy because we work 2 full-time jobs, right? We're parents. So trying to maneuver some of the times can be tricky, but on Sundays when she does her mid-afternoon in our time zone show, I'm like I put my noise canceling headphones on over there. I'll watch sports, I'll watch something, and I'll definitely keep my eye on her chat or her show to give her some views and go in the chat and talk. And she's very supportive, you know, and we just I think it's great because I like the idea that she's doing something on her own. And that's why she says I kicked her off the channel, but I knew she was going to be too good to just stay on my channel. She needed her own brand, and it's worked out great. Even our kid, she cracks up watching us. Like she's actually proud of it. So that's a nice thing.
Well, I'm going to put a pin in the kid for a minute, but
Okay.
So Sassy, I think you share a hobby, but you do different things. Is kind of how I see and hear it. Is that about right? You kind of like, it's like you have this new expanding, growing commonality of things that you can do together, but it's not so overlaid that it drives each other nuts.
Right. It's completely separate, but yet we do intertwine. Like for instance, I can't do my movie reviews without the help of his editing. So this last weekend when I did the Wonka review, it not tested our marriage, but I almost threw in the towel quite a bit of times. There were tears.
The editing is not easy.
Cannoli stuck with me and he helped. And you know, he does support. It's nice because he'll be like, did you see that story about X, Y, and Z? I think it would be great for your Sunday show.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he helps me a lot. I don't help him so much because his is more of a format. Vex actually runs his show.
I was gonna say Vex does a lot.
She gets his guests. Now, the one thing I did do for his channel is I did put together the 1-year anniversary, and I had everybody lined up. I had time slots. I mean, that was a lot of work. But I don't really do much for his channel. He helps me more with mine.
That's not true. You will bring guests on for our Cannoli Connection stuff. You'll ask.
Oh, that's true.
You'll reach out to certain people.
Yeah. So I have a passion about what I like to do. Cannoli's always been obsessed with movies ever since I met him. So imagine 20-year-old Cannoli in his parents' house.
That's a long time ago.
With over 300 at least DVDs of all. I mean, this kid loves movies so much. So he's doing what he's passionate about. I've recently become passionate more so about the mental health aspect of things because of our daughter's struggle. And so I've found a passion of mine and what I want to educate people on, and I want to be an advocate. I know I'm a small voice, but I want to be an advocate for certain things. And I also want to make real women great again. I am so tired of a real woman who can have a child biologically be discredited over and over and over. And I'll poke fun at women. I don't care. Like, I'll make fun of myself. Like, I'm not one of those where like I'm a feminist. I'm like, if you're an idiot, I'll make fun of you. So I'm very open to that. And while we're very different, we still share the same views. We're on the same political what would you call? Thank you. Spectrum. You're on the spectrum.
I am on the spectrum, yeah.
But we share all
you're politically aligned and
aligned is what we believe,
yeah.
All the social core,
exactly. So we share a lot of the same views, and so the things I speak about on Sunday, he's right there with me, and we could do the show together if we wanted, but I love interacting with the chat. I love doing that. Sometimes I run the chat for him behind the scenes on his show.
Sure.
I'm in charge of the thumbnails. If Vex doesn't, like, Vex has done all of the MMM thumbnails. So yeah, this has really like given us a hobby, because before this, I didn't really know who I was and I didn't really have a hobby. I was busy being a mom to a kid who had a mental health issue, and we were constantly, that's all I did, is I poured everything into that. So this is such a nice thing, one, to do with my husband. Even though we do things separately, we do a lot together. It's been really fun for us, and I really like it. It's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, we've met so many great people. This is such a wonderful community. There's so many people that I absolutely adore that I've never met in person, but I would like go to the end of the earth for them. So it's been a great journey. And I think Cannoli and I don't know if it's brought us closer, but we're definitely having a lot of fun. Yeah,
I would definitely say so.
Yeah.
I think it has.
You remind me so much of myself and Mrs. Pops in very similar ways, except that, Cannoli's a wuss. I had way more than 300 movies. I mean, that's complete.
It might have been 5. It might have been 5. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I couldn't count after that.
He knows I'm just messing with him, but so let's go back to Lil Sassy.
Yes.
She, the kids we're told the kids think highly of YouTubers. They think that influencers are kind of cool. That's what they call us. I don't know why they would use the word influence with YouTube, but that's what they do say. Yeah. Does she kind of have a little bit of that perspective of the two of you?
Well, she wears the merch all the time.
She likes the merch. I think she does. But
there's a plus right there.
Yeah, I think if it's anything with your parents, it's just kids are kind of, I don't know the right terminology. That she does definitely support. She likes it, yes, but it's like they're just my parents. But yet she'll watch her own people that she watches nonstop on YouTube.
I mean, she does support us. She jumps on the chat. She is known as Joker Voice's #1 fan.
That's what he said.
Yeah, she absolutely loves Joker, and so she supports us. She'll put our show on. She doesn't always watch. She'll watch when we have a guest on that she might like, or she thinks that's funny. She'll always like comment, "Mommy, you looked pretty," or you did a good job, or or she'll always ask me, because she's 15, so she sleeps through my show on Sundays. When she wakes up, she's like, "How was your show today?" So she's very patient in the sense that, like, when we do our shows, she gives us time. She understands that we enjoy doing this, so she doesn't get all like, "Oh my God, you guys are doing YouTube again." And here's another thing that's really cool. So real quick, so when we went to Vegas, my daughter loves Ryan Kennel. She we watched a lot of Geeks and Gamers during COVID. So she loved Ryan Kennel. We had did you have Jay on at that time or no?
No. Before that. Yeah.
Okay. So she just loved Jeremy, all of them. Everybody FaceTimed my daughter, and she thought that was the coolest thing to get FaceTimed by Ryan. I think Jeremy, Jay, Krista. So she was really excited for us to go and do the meetup. So she supports us like that. And like when Cannoli had Jay on to promote his comic book, Achromatic Chronicles, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Her and I were literally in tears because it was such a big deal for Cannoli. We were like, she's like, "Mom, this is giving me Geeks and Gamers vibes. This is so cool. I'm so proud of Dad. So she does have her proud moments.
Cool.
And she is proud of us. And
Yeah.
like Fear the Beardo is like one of our great friends now. Like we've gotten to know, like Jay called me out on his show the other day and he's like, when is Mrs. Sassy going to have me on a stream?
I know.
was like-
Well, listen, let me know when he wants to come on Pops. He can come
Right.
on here. and hang out.
There you go.
But we're making like,
Make 'em-
I live like 50. I'm streaming 50 minutes away, Jay. We could
I was
just
just gonna say.
break bread. By the way,
exactly.
just so you
I'll
know.
put in a
Coffee
word,
and
Pop.
talk,
I
yeah.
got you. I'll put in
Yeah.
a word. But
Oh,
she
oh,
was
No, I'm
proud
just-
of us with that
I'm busting
kind of
his
stuff.
chops.
And
He's got things to do.
I know.
He is
Well,
busy.
here's what he says to me. He's like, yeah, when am I going to get on? So I message him. I go, listen, I heard what you said today. Why don't you come on? Here are 2 dates. He goes, message me after the holidays. I'm like, okay,
He's
fine.
busy.
Anyway,
Yeah.
she's proud of us. She loves when we take her along with us in that aspect. And like Jay gave us bubbles at the meetup to give to our daughter. Sorry. So, you know, it's just been a fun thing to do. We do things as a family for YouTube. Like we'll watch the movies Cannoli's going to review on
Yeah,
Monday.
when I do MMMs, we'll rewatch that movie that weekend together if it's appropriate for the kid.
And
then
she does. She watches all the movies with me. Like she went to see Wonka with me, and we made her watch the original.
sorry.
I got her.
Oh,
I know. I got her point of view. Like she helps me. She's gone to all the movie like we went to Barbie as an early screening together. We did Ariel as an early screening together. So I try to involve her as much as I can without her putting her out there on social media. But it's definitely a family dynamic at
we
this
definitely
point.
share
She's
the
very proud of
experience.
us. Yeah.
We definitely
yeah.
share it. So
She is. She's very proud of us.
You transitioned me right back to Mischief, Mayhem, and movies.
You're welcome.
You're 50 something into
51.
this. Like we're over
51.
50 now. So how does the process of picking a movie going right now? Like how
it is very interesting.
do you plan out into 24? Do you pick certain dates? Is there certain strategies or tactics? Have
you guys want to hold, please, and get Vex on here? She'll explain how it all works.
No,
Oh,
we
okay,
actually.
so Vex is in charge. All right, well, you know,
Now,
hashtag Vex rules. So we're back to that again.
So what
Okay.
we were doing, even when Vex first came on, we were just like, let's pick this movie for the next week. And then we were like, eventually, like, we got to plan this out a little more because as the channel's growing and more people want to be on for certain movies, we got to reach out to a bigger audience, more content creators. And now, yes. So what we did is an example. A couple of weeks ago, after one of our streams, we were talking for like 2 hours after the stream about, hey, let's plan out. Yes, go through 2024 up until the summer, and then we'll come back at another point and finish the year. So yes, we'll go through the movies. We'll discuss what like a pick that we want to do, and then so we do kind of.
But you follow the algorithm too. Like
We
for
kind of
instance,
do the
Wonka.
algorithm thing, which I don't always love, but like even we did Aquaman right yesterday, and so my theory is. Yes, I know it's going to hit the algorithm more than another movie I picked because Aquaman 2 is coming out, right? It's going to be
And you did
talked
Wonka
about.
the same way, and that
Wonka,
got you.
but I like Wonka. But like, but my theory is like, okay, I don't love this movie, but there are people that we know now that we've grown, and there's like a bigger, more content creators that want to come on. There are people who like it. There are people who don't like it. So instead of just crapping on the movie completely, let's get these people together and we'll talk it out for 2 hours on the stream. And I did. After the Batman versus Superman stream, we really
I don't want to get on that rabbit hole yet. I got
No.
I got that in my back pocket. We're gonna work our way to that fiasco.
So basically, what you do though is you look at what movies are maybe coming out that are popular.
We kind of maneuver
And
around
you
certain
kind of-
movies, but we have all the way through August of 2024 ready to go.
Okay.
We booked it.
Okay.
And what Vex will help me do, because she has a little more free time, is that she will just reach out to people. You want to be on? Do you want to be on? And then we're booked almost all the way through to August 2024 already.
Okay.
So I do get help, which I need because my job just takes up so much free
But
time.
you
that
base
she
your
does help.
movies off of popularity at that certain time.
Kinda.
Like you did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory because Wonka was coming out. You did Aquaman because Aquaman 2 is coming out.
Yeah.
So what he does is he tries to see what is popular at the time and we'll do something
Not
kind
all
of
the time,
around
but
it.
sometimes. But we do.
Well,
have
you
a-
want to like if you had to have a reason to watch Aquaman,
Right.
it's right now.
Exactly.
100%.
That's the purpose.
If you had a reason, if you're not regularly watching the original Willy Wonka, like I don't know what's wrong with
Exactly.
you, but if you needed an excuse to watch it again,
Yeah, not
Right.
because of the
You know,
new one. Yeah.
you know,
So
or
that's
Charlie and the
kind of how
Chocolate
they do
Factory,
it.
even
They-
like no, I
Yeah.
wouldn't
There is a
recommend that, but
reason.
you know, so I get that totally. Look, I do more of that on my personal videos than I do for Talk Hard. But I do understand the fact that I thought it'd be interesting to talk through the strategy for folks that are maybe they're smaller channels or big channels. I don't know, whatever. I don't know, or just the time management, like you said, it's so time consuming. Pat S does.
There is a method to their madness. There is a reason why they pick.
We've formatted it to a point now where it's pretty seamless now, much better than where we were. So
right. And that's Pat asked me once because he was trying to help me get caught up on getting some folks in and things like that, and I just copied and pasted. It's all I have color coded nonsense in there, whatever. And he's like, "Holy crap!" And I'm like,
"It works."
It's but I don't have a Vex, so I'm a little jealous. So I got to do what I can do. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to get a lease her out on a subcontractor or something.
Let's just say that Vex runs his show, and then I can't post a thumbnail except for Wonka. She had nothing to do with that. Every thumbnail that you see of mine has been Vex approved, except for Wonka.
She's tough on the thumbnails, but she does a good job on them. So
well, listen, there's a reason why she has 2 channels with like 5,000 subs. So
and she's extremely generous.
I love my time with her. She's been able to. We've been able to do a couple things together here, so I really enjoyed it. So okay, so you briefly drove past. I made sure we kept you out on the interstate because let's just face it, this stream derailed to the point where I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but let's just say even I heard about it before I saw it. I was like, what is happening over on my brother's channel? They're like, yeah, things went a little astray. I thought you should go check it out. Because I'm like, I am the most vanilla generic of kind of like that kind of guy. I mean, they for those of you who maybe you're new, maybe it's the first time you've watched me. If when I'm face palming or whatever, I know there was a little joke. I made the little meme of the landmine to the face from Sisu. That's what happens. But I'm not as
right.
Well, you guys did Batman vs Superman, and you brought in someone that loves the Snyderverse. You brought in a true Snyder bro.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into the drama and rehash it all. I think that's just unfair.
Sure.
But what on earth is going through your brain while you're in the middle of just watching? Like, it's almost like finding out that you're in the ocean and suddenly ships just start shooting at each other and you're like watching it all happen. Like, what do I do?
That's how I felt watching. I was like, what is, I was running the comments and I was like,
it was wild.
I was like, I can't do this. I'm so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was intense. That changed how we move everything about our format. Not everything, but a lot of what we changed about the format going forward. So
okay.
It was a great learning opportunity for all of us because at that point we were starting to get bigger YouTubers on. Not that was my main goal to get bigger YouTubers on, but they just have you had
it just worked out,
on,
right?
You?
It just worked out. You cross our circles cross. You meet somebody and they you know. And, let's go on Cannoli. Okay, so it worked out, and then I brought a big Snyder fan on, and it really just halfway through just went, and it kind of had a lot to do with the Man of Steel stream that we did not long before that, where there was some of that, but it was cordial. And anyway, besides the drama, I'm sitting there, and I usually I'm not going to pat myself on the back. I'm the greatest, but I was like, I think I'm a decent host, but I didn't really navigate the waters very well there. You're right. It was a wild ride. Felt like I was in this ocean current during a thunderstorm or a tornado. And I'm like, what do I do?
You could not control the boat. The boat was just,
I didn't moderate the way I should have. I should have just been like, not telling people to shut up and say, hey, let this person talk. Let's get through the conversation. And then the next person. Where I know sometimes you're going to you're going to overlay each other. It's going to be, and especially with the delay on the StreamYard. And so after the show, I got together with Vex and White Bear and then Copa at the time when he was on. And I was like, I got to fix this. I can't have this happen again. And if it is going to be a passionate argument, that's where it's got to be just a conversation, and it's got to be nipped in the bud before, there's any name calling, any of this, because I can't have that on my show. I know channels.
I just want to clarify because I think we 100% agree. Like, we can even like vehemently disagree.
Sure.
But there has to be a way to make content
Right.
that is worth watching.
Right.
I mean, I know this is literally business 101, guys. This doesn't do anyone any good.
Yeah.
It doesn't do the people that are there having the conversation, or it doesn't do the host, or doesn't do anyone any good if you're making just a bunch of crosstalk, the animosity. And Sassy, you said it best. It felt uncomfortable in the chat. It had to be like,
you know
what is happening right now?
Everybody around him was actually decent, and even certain people offered an olive branch at the end and were just trying to understand that he was extremely passionate about this movie, and they respected it. However, the respect wasn't a two-way street, and there was name calling, there was actual finger flipping off. It
wasn't. I didn't do a good job.
But here's the thing: in Cannoli's defense, and he's changed this since then, he will never have a panel that big. It's unmanageable.
It's too big. Yeah.
And he has done such a excellent job of now, if somebody wants to speak, he will say, okay, what is your opinion, or what were you trying to say? And he makes sure that he includes everybody. But there was nothing that Cannoli could have done that day to really reel that in, because there were so many personalities, and the one personality that was being the worst just didn't care about anybody else and was just out to just ridicule everyone. And
besides that, though,
but I think the passion can get away from us nerds and stuff like that, right?
And
So, and I think that you're hitting the takeaways that are important for everybody watching, right? Because we don't need to rehash, I think, any of the negativity, other than to say
it was a lot of passion.
A large panel can work when it's just like you were chilling out, or we're casual, like on my Thursday show. I'm sorry, we're recording this in December, so that show happened like a couple weeks ago. There's a December 21st show.
It was great, by the way. You should
show, by the way.
It's structured to have a couple of people invited for sure, because I don't get to stream with them often. But if it gets to be a bigger group, it's fine, because we're like chilling out. We're not going to be like having this big, let's go around the horn with opinions.
100%.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing, is managing a panel, the size of the panel that you said, 1 or 2. Then 2 was figuring out how to manage that passion, and that's the word I'm going to use, because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
He was very passionate. He was, and with all due respect, there was nothing wrong with the passion. It was just not delivered in a very constructive way.
You can get away from it. So now when I have these big panels, when I do have people that are, I had people recently defending Justice League. I learned to just we have fun with it instead of having an actual argument. We just joked about it, and even recently with Aquaman, 2 people on the panel loved it. 2 people hated it, and most of us didn't like it, but we made it a fun time. I've learned how to scrub through the movies better and faster. I've learned how to not interrupt people when they're cutting other people off, but just make sure I go back to the person who was maybe trying to say something and couldn't get a word, and go, hey, what were you trying to say there?
Perfect.
It's definitely calmed down. What I didn't like after BVS, though, was that it was my biggest show at the time. So I could have been that guy, like, this is going to be my platform now. I want controversy. I don't want my show known for that, though.
No.
So I was getting comments like, oh man, that was great, and people love drama. And I'm like, I told Vex, like, I'm not doing that again then. I don't want people to join my channel and expect this and only come for that. I want them to hear genuine, good conversations from differing opinions, from people who are strong about what they like, dislike, and have an actual conversation. And I think that's why the shows are getting more people want to come on now, and it's getting bigger, because it's just a very chill, laid back time. I let people be themselves. I don't really censor anybody, and it's been so much smoother. The times have been cut down from 3.5 hours down to 2.5 hours sometimes. And it's like, it's just working better, but it was a learning curve. That's all it is.
And everybody wants to be on your show. Like, he has to tell people no, that the slots are full, because everybody, and that's how you know you have something good, is when people want to be a part of it. And he's having a show for the right reasons. For instance, I showed some Cleavage with Vex on a Halloween show. It was my highest view count at the time. I had 50 people watching at one time. But that's not who I am. Vex and I thought it was funny.
Just so we're clear.
Vex and I thought it was funny.
That was for you, Vex. That was for you, Vex.
Yeah, Vex. You get that?
But you know what? I could have sailed past 500 subs. I could have all my watch hours, but I don't want to be known as the channel that just shows something. I want to be known as somebody who has something to say. And Cannoli could have played up that that angle,
Really
but he
coulda.
took the higher road. And what I don't think helped either the next day is that that person attacked the entire panel via Twitter, and that really muddied the waters as well. And so I think he made a good decision to leave well enough alone and just make the show what it needed to be, which was a good movie review show where people ask to be on, and he has to say no because the slots are filled. And now he's got a thing where he's got his, really it's 2 co-hosts at this point, because Copa's wife's schedule changed since they had the baby, and so he can't make Monday shows. So it's White Bear and Vex. And I think he tries to have, what do you try to have, Cannoli? Only 3 or 4 guests per show?
I usually try to have 3 max now if I can, because I don't want it to go too far.
And they have to say no.
And another thing, when the Justice League stream happened, it was a 2-part. Everybody's like, get that person back on so we can hear more arguing.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
And he said no.
Not that I wouldn't have him on it. I'm not going to have my.
You don't want that attention. You don't.
I don't want to become
known.
the whatever podcast where everybody's fighting and arguing with each other.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's not what I want to be known for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a few Watch Your Stories in 2023 about the drama and things like that, and I get it. I get the water, trying to throw water on the right fire and throw gasoline on this fire, and I think you just kind of have to pick your lane for what you feel comfortable doing. And I get the impression that you wanted to have movie conversation, right?
Yeah,
and it isn't about fueling the division over you like or hate a certain kind of movie. Right. And I think you should basically be able to tell Cannoli that he's wrong within 2 hours. I don't think you need longer than that. So it should be very simple. You don't need to get angry about it. That's how I feel. Sassy, you should know, right? I mean, it's pretty simple. God, yeah. I don't have any problem.
It takes me 5 minutes. Believe me, I go, do you want me to cook
you
your
have a lot more practice
than
I do. I might need a little bit longer depending on the movie. I mean, I can tell him he's wrong too, but I don't need to raise my voice. When you have
people like, and I'm going to toot his horn, when you have people like the Little Platoon and Movie Cynic wanting to be on shows, you know, the Little Platoon and Movie Cynic, this is how I knew Cannoli had something. And it's just who he is. He's infectious. You want to be around him. You want to hang out. They stayed for the entire 4-hour 1-year anniversary show. They stayed the entire time on his stream. Awesome. They didn't have to. They just wanted to hang out. And that's how you know, like, they don't need numbers. They don't need subscribers. They just wanted to hang because they like what Cannoli's about. And I think that Cannoli took the high road with making his show what it is. And MMM is known. He's still small. Yeah, he should have more subs, I think. But, you know, it's sometimes doing the right thing can take a little bit longer. But I think eventually when you have bigger YouTubers, like Platoon was in the chat the entire time last night. I mean, just hanging out. What does he need to hang out? Cannoli, you know, we're little channels in comparison. He's been on Friday Night Tights. What does he need us for? Because you know what? He's a cool guy. He likes to talk about movies.
They're just people. They just
but that's what I'm saying. Like, it just he brought good people around him because he handled a situation correctly and he was the bigger man. He could have really profited off of it, but instead he didn't. And I think it worked out for him. And I think it made him look better.
I had good people around me. I had Vex and White Bear. Like, I had good people with good heads on their shoulder to say, okay, it's a learning experience. But like, they didn't berate me. It was one thing I love about
it. But it wasn't your fault, honey. It wasn't your fault. That show was a shit show.
Vex will call me out on things, but it's like done in the most gracious, meaningful way where it's
Vex is like the YouTube mom. All right. She's like a YouTube mom.
But I needed that at the time. And even now, like we're basically family. I've known her for a while now, and it's like, she's great. But I don't mind if people come at me and tell me something, as long as it's not like, nobody wants to be demeaned about their what they're doing. But I have great people around me, and that's why Vex and White Bear, and we have such good chemistry because we can say anything to each other.
Too. You're friends, and
we're also friends. Vex scares me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Is it? I think she should. I think it's healthy. No, there's a healthy amount of fear.
Yeah, it's really good.
Is it weird because you're not quite as old as me, but you got a couple gray whiskers in there. So
I have a lot of gray.
So isn't it weird that we talk about them and friends and stuff like that? Because we're running the clock like 10 or 15 years. It sounds like creepy, weird AOL chat rooms.
It does. I know. I was there when it started. It's very weird. It's creepy. It is strange.
It's super weird. Like, I've got to meet some people in person. Like, I got to meet Nadia and her husband and Nomi, JT. We got to meet in person, Joker, Roman, we've met a handful. Oh, Tyler the Redbeard. We got to meet a bunch of people in person, but there's so many people that we haven't met, but I feel like I've known them forever. There's just such a great connection. It's so weird though. It's so weird.
Well, you're spending hours with someone that you have a kindred spirit with, right?
We talk all day long on the the texting. We all talk all day long. We have titter. Oh my gosh.
You talk all day. You don't talk all day long to me. Well,
I would.
I'm not in the club.
I'll put you in our thread. You can hang
out. No. I don't need more.
I don't know if you want to hear everything that goes on in those.
I don't need more threads. I don't need more threads, more memes. No.
Oh my gosh.
If you need anything, you let me know.
I got
you. Okay, so I thought it would be fun to at least ask about because you I think you're doing the right thing. I'm not trying to be critical, but when you subject yourself to a timely movie watching like Captain Marvel, I mean, I was like, oh no, I didn't do it. You did it. I rewatched it through you while we're watching it because I was like, no, I'm not doing it either.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I've watched it once. Yeah. I'm not watching it. I watched it a second time through his channel. I did not actually watch it. So, where does it go to the VETO level? Because with Talk Hard, which is the closest thing to a parallel show, which is very similar, right? The Mischief. If we had a giant network, we would be like, well, Mischief, Mayhem, and Movies is on Mondays, Talk Hard Tuesdays, Wednesdays with Zax, Thursday night at Romans. I mean, it's just you could just keep going, right? I could do this. Yep. I could do this all day. Where's the veto line? Does White Bear get a veto? Does Vex get a veto? Does someone go, you know what? I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Yes, there are occasions. Yes.
I was curious.
So so we were going to do the Dune movie, the most recent one, and then they changed the date. So Vex had the wherewithal to say, hey, it's being pushed to March. Let's do Dune in March instead of, so we can get the algorithm. I said, okay, that's a good idea. I love the Dune movie. Then she's like, let's do Dune 1984 instead. And then as it got closer, to the week before, we all kind of messaged each other like, do we really want to do Dune 1984? And we were like, no. So we switched it to, oh my God, what was the movie? It was Poltergeist. We said, it's Halloween. Why are we not doing a Halloween movie? So yes, there will be times, when we do bring up the list, we'll ask each other.
Can I mention something for you though?
No.
I think what he's talking about too, there's also people on the panel that absolutely don't want to watch it. I don't think White Bear is really sick. He did not want to watch Aquaman.
He don't want to watch Aquaman.
And
no, he was.
I'm not even kidding you.
I wonder.
He did not.
The thought was psychosomatic, and he had a reaction
for 3 days.
He did not want to watch it, and also he hated Old Boy so much.
He watched it.
Remember?
Oh, really? The 2003?
No, that's the original one. That's Vex, one of Vex's favorite movies.
The first negative reaction I've ever heard.
He hated it.
He poured vodka in his eyes during the stream and said, "I need a cleanse."
This is what I think about this movie. But he watched. No, so there will be times we will pick and then we'll go back to the before we start booking for people. We'll go back and go, what do we think? And today we changed a few. We changed a few for the future because me and Vex were like, I don't know if this one really would get. There were certain movies that people didn't want to come on and talk about, but
or they can't get guests,
or they couldn't. We just the timing wasn't working, and we were like, let's move this movie here. Yeah, so I will give everybody an opportunity to say if they don't want to watch it, we'll do something else. Yes, but Vex is kind of like I said, she scares me a little bit.
You haven't let her do the lake house though.
I'm not doing the lake house. So I told
Vex, I'm trying to get
one stipulation: we cannot do the lake house with Keanu Reeves. And
we all have a few that and I don't really ever take things off the list. I guess 100%. There's sort of like a rolling list. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So I'm just curious the inner workings. I think this is the part I think for folks of how you let your show kind of have its own identity and its own voice, right? Because with Sassy, with your female perspectives and with your social commentary and things like that, it's more of aggregation of different topics or news things and things like that, and then it's a lot of stream of consciousness, and then just again, if you have a guest, it's the bantering back and forth and the big. I find that also very interesting because it's a completely different approach to putting your show together, right?
Yeah, so I create every week. I have a Google document, and I just take all different articles, whether it's Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, what have you, and I build what I'm going to talk about. And I'll put somebody on the thumbnail that maybe is who I'm going to talk about. And the running joke is Beard of Liberty has me on a timer, and we have to see how long it takes for Sassy to get to her topics, because the chat will just distract me. And one time,
Yes.
no topics at all. We talked about alcoholic beverages for 2 hours because the chat just kept, and I love that though, because listen, when you solo stream, you can't do it without a chat. You just can't. It's hard when you don't have that interaction. So yes, I always come with topics. I actually have a whole Google document for my next Sunday stream. And if I don't get to something on a previous week, I move it over to the next document and I just go through and I go, I want to talk about this. I want to talk. So I do build my shows on a weekly basis. I'm constantly building, and Vex sends me, I'm in a chat with Vex. And she's constantly sending me stuff. She helps me. Cannoli sends me stuff. I've had people just through Beard of Liberty sends me stuff. So it's been really nice to be able to have people that are like, oh, you should talk about this. You should bring this up. During my show 2 weeks ago, my show derailed because we started talking about shiwis and golf clubs that you can pee in if you're on the golf course and you have to go to the restroom.
I watch her show. Now I will admit,
that's true.
Sometimes it gets to the point where I'm like, plus 10. Plus 10. So like the booze stream. Sorry, that's what I called it. The booze stream. It wasn't for me. Like I just checked out. I don't blame you. There's no okay. For those of you at home, we are adults. Yeah. We actually like each other. Like if we went and when we meet in real life, which you guys will probably have to come to Florida, Mrs. Pops is not flying. So when they come to Florida, we'll break bread and we'll have a good time and hang out. And it's okay. We also know that of the creators that we like, because we easily could list like 100 people that we actually like. You can't watch everything of everyone. Like I'm the crazy person leaving things on at 1.5 or 2 speed. Or actually, I did this for a couple people. Like we know they need a few hours, right? I'll open Windows and let them play in the background. You know what I mean? Where like you get a playlist going. I think it's fascinating though to kind of unpack and pull at these threads of how your shows operate and how they kind of work and that kind of thing. And especially because even though it's only been a little over a year, you guys have really both evolved radically to where you were, right? So the original, cannoli and whiskey hanging out, like what brought it out of him to do this with you, Sassy, behind the scenes, kind of, I'll take care of this and I'll help you with comments. Now it's birthed into 2 completely different personas, running 2 completely different channels with voices and things that run as a great reflection of who you are. And that's where I think you said earlier, Cannoli, about being authentic and genuine.
Yes, authenticity is huge for both of our channels. Like you see, this is who I am. I do not put any persona on. Sometimes I might act a little happier than I am because, who doesn't have underlying depression? However, this is who I am. There's no secret. This is the real me. If you meet me in person, this is exactly how I'd be.
She's a typical Italian-Irish woman. She likes to talk.
I need to start writing down all of the little phrases that she uses, though, because they're just, I need to incorporate them into my white bread life to get people to look at you. Because when I'll say things like that, people go, huh?
You can have whatever you want. You can take whatever you want.
Best. And I just got to start writing them down because let's wind her up and she starts going. I'm thinking, oh, what do you call Joy Behar? There's a great.
Oh, a Yenta.
Yenta. I got to get Yenta. I'm writing Yenta down. I got it.
Is a Yenta.
Write them down now. Start getting a few here.
So I need to create. Okay. So those of you at home, help me create a sassy bingo card with all these type of phrases. And then I will take the challenge and I will take pictures of taking it to work into conversations to see how long I can. Yeah. That's what I like to do. Yeah. These people know
I don't know. So. Sometimes I just make stuff up. I don't know. It's just, there's so many things in the world right now that just aggravate me. And so I don't know. Sometimes I just say weird stuff, but this is me though. I say stupid stuff. Sometimes I can't get words out. I can't speak English. Sometimes I trip over my tongue, but you know what? People were actually upset that I didn't have a Sunday stream this last Sunday, and that warmed my heart, because it's like people look forward to it, and I'm like, and every time before I go on stream, I'm like, I go to Cannoli, I go, what if nobody shows up? What if nobody shows up?
Like, you're crazy.
It's
people are gonna show up.
But see, I like the fact that it is sort of like a very cathartic. It's like you just talking about, whatever. Like, so. I betrayed your trust a little bit because I asked some folks for some questions and some ideas and things that we should talk about. So Jana thought that for everyone, we should discuss that there is, like, when a child is born cesarean, is it a birth date, a removal date, or an extraction date?
Honey, you want to?
As a fellow C-section mother, it is birthing. It's not removal. It's not extracting.
Oh, here she goes.
It is a birth date.
Has anyone seen the Dragnet movie where Tom Hanks is like pretending to have the gasoline on the fire and he's just
throwing it around?
It's just Jana and I talked about that. It was just so aggravating because when she knew she was gonna have a C-section, and her friends at work were asking her, "Are you gonna say birth date or removal date?" And it's like, not for nothing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The baby still comes out. And you already, just side note, you already feel less of a woman when you can't birth the child the natural way. So don't start with us. That's all I have to say.
I just want to know, did someone actually use the term extraction date?
Well, no. They told Jana that they actually asked her if you're going to consider it a removing day, because the baby, Cannoli, was there. You know what? Not for that. They moved my organs over to take my child out.
It was a wild
time. Dramatic. So I should get some points for that.
Yeah, we have cesarean. My wife's been taken apart and put back together a couple times.
So the fact that they say
I find it quite amazing, actually, to be honest.
It is incredible how they can recover.
So yes, somebody did ask Jana at work. We had this conversation, and she was appalled because somebody said, and they kind of also led to the fact that she wasn't really birthing a baby. It was more of a removal. And that really kind of offended Jana. And
that's a jackwagon. That's a jackwagon comment.
Yeah,
by the way,
exactly.
That's a person that Jana will let me know. They probably don't have children.
Probably not. Probably not.
I'm going to take a bet that if it's from a lady that said that, are they a cat or a dog person?
Yeah.
It's a cat or a dog person. That's the only question left. Is it cat?
I'm going to say
go cat, lady, and 42-ish is what I'm going to go.
Ooh, I like that. Yep. That's a good guess.
Yeah, 42-ish and maybe one relationship in all of her life, and she was about 34.
No, she's probably had 3 that she'll mention, but one of them is like the 15 to 17-year-old that like cheated on her right before or after like a prom or a homecoming.
Perfect. I like that. Let's go with that.
Jan, I don't know how you're going to find that piece of information out and fact check that for me, but I will be curious if you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know.
Sure.
This is what happens inside my brain. I know. It's not what most men do. Good. Most men don't have this part. So for you ladies at home, this is what Mrs. Pops has to deal with. It is absolutely insane. So it only gets worse because I don't quite understand any of this reference. I know I've heard it. But Zach's told me repeatedly, and I don't know how many brownie points I would get, but I didn't do a good job in the first half or more, or so, however long we've been talking. Why do I have to constantly be asking about community college credits and community college? Is there a bunch of references to community college I should know about?
If anybody knows, drop a sheep in the chat.
Try a sheep in the. Here we go.
Sheep, huh?
So
yes.
How do we put this? So
well, you can say that Flaccid Phoenix. Right?
Oh, well, no. So wait, hold on. Time out. By the way, PG-13 channel, folks. So this is Flaccid Phoenix and Sheep. We are not off to a good start for Pops and birthday content.
I know. Flaccid Phoenix is his YouTube name. And Cannoli, can you explain what happened? Because that was quite a stream.
So all right. I want to preface. Are we talking about what happened on Zach's stream with that certain guest that he had on, or are we talking about the BVS stream with the community college?
Oh,
I think Pops is maybe because
you know what, you're right. He is referring to the BVS,
the BVS
and
stream.
actually
So
Andrew.
It's amazing how we just keep always going back to the BVS stream, right?
Can't get away from it, can you?
There was a comment.
I think I'm out. They pull me back in.
Yeah, that Pacino moment.
I guess my apologies.
Very
the Zach stream was more along the lines
Pops.
of. Wasn't it degrees on
Yeah,
Zach's?
so what happened was is
sorry.
that while the stream was going off the rails towards the end, the certain person, I'm not going to name names, actually Andrew was on the channel, and he's a film student, and he's going to a community college, and there was reference to, what do you know about anything? You're just a community college student. I wouldn't brag about that. And then that was the ongoing joke.
But didn't he do like a whole research project or one of the things?
He's really talented, and it's what he can afford. And so the
no. The movie he dissected in class was this movie.
BVS. Yeah. So the whole joke was about, you're like, and I was like, all right. And so the whole joke going after that, even to today, is to Andrew is like, what do you know? You just have community college credits. You're not smart enough.
Gotcha.
Like that's where that kind of came from. But everything reverts back to that stream, Pops. Everything. It's like, even now I still get people, hey, you remember that stream?
It
like,
actually this person that was on the stream kind of popped up and started a little bit of controversy with our group once again on Twitter just a few days ago. And Vex shut it down.
But you know what? You just got to let it go. And what you do is you monetize it. So what we need to have, so again, chat, please work on this for the Cannolis because they didn't think of doing this. This is my twisted suggestion. And I'm sorry if it offends some of you. They need to have a shirt or something that says, how many days since the BVS stream?
Oh, I love that.
The 1 year anniversary of the BVS stream, and we have a positive stream or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like
great idea.
That's a great idea.
That is a really good idea, Pops.
I'm in charge of the merch. I'm going to look into that.
I just want a free sample. So
I'll give you for you anything.
When it lands, I just want a free sample.
You got it. You got
it. I want to stripe my Yenta.
Ooh, I'll get you a shirt that says,
I want, don't be a Yenta. Stop being a Yenta.
That says, ask me what a Yenta is so you could tell them.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, my wife calls Joy Behar a succubus. So I think Yenta might have some legs. So
yeah. Well, it's not racist. She is Jewish. So it's fine.
No. I looked it up just to make sure because I wasn't going to accidentally take your word for it. No offense, but it was like that sounds really close to the edge of how you used it. Even I'm like, is there like a third definition that could be wrong? Because I don't want to get myself. No, it is not. It is a very appropriate word to use, especially for a Jewish woman.
Before I started throwing it around.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good indeed. So, I have a video that Zach sent. He was very excited about the fact that I'd reach out, which I actually am a little concerned, Zach. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm a little concerned that you were so excited because my question really is, Zach, what's going to happen whenever it's, your turn? What are we going to do to you? So
I thought we were friends, Zach.
Yeah, come on, Zach. Canadians.
So I don't know if you knew that certain things don't ever die on the internet. So I don't know if you knew this is out there or not. So I thought it was one of those things where... Yeah, I know. It's what happens. If I don't know, I get told things are clipped a lot, but I haven't had a lot of these kind of moments where things are going to be brought up again. So I thought this was kind of fun.
Yeah.
So in context, I thought it was interesting that infamously, we'll have a little bit of the story of why this matters because you guys are in chat. So that's all I know. This is on Zach's channel.
Oh, Irene died. Yes, rip Irene.
So over here on the channel is Irene.
Yes.
So if Tim Possible and we have all sorts of stuff going on. Poor Brahma Bull never knows. Like he didn't seem like he had a clue what was going on here and all of this happening. And then out of the blue, Irene and
she passed away.
It's just,
at least we think.
Allegedly.
Has she ever been back?
Well, she shows up randomly in the chats, but we're not sure if it's actually her. So we hope
could be
it
like
is.
a fake account, maybe.
Right.
Okay.
And the running joke is Zach's makes me laugh every single time. The comment right here, if you see this picture, he says, and I die laughing every time, Irene, if you need help, turn on your ceiling fan.
Turn on the ceiling fan, yes.
And Zach and I joke about that all the time.
So again, monetizing. Why is there not a shirt, Zach's, that says, Irene, comma, if you're okay, turn on the ceiling fan.
I'm telling you, listen, I would say Circle of Jerks and then Tim's after streams are hysterical. I don't catch them as much now because of the time change. But when he said this part right here, Irene, if you need help, just turn on your ceiling fan. It was it was priceless. And
It's
Tim
so
had
good.
no idea what was
It's on
going
for
on.
a while, guys. This was
It
Oh
is.
yeah, it happens for a while. Yeah.
Tim doesn't know what's going on, and the chat's going, and we're like, Tim, we think Irene died. Tim, check on Irene, and he's just like, blah, 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 blah,
But you're
blah.
right, Pops. Like these are the things that live in
Oh,
infamy.
yeah, there's
like
my
BBS stuff, this kind of thing. Like it's still talked about. So that's how you
They're
know
trying to get Tim's attention to stop talking so they can
Nope.
figure out what happened to Irene.
See, right there.
Here it is.
Irene, turn the fan on if you need help. I think Cannoli was sleeping next to me, and I was up
I
late.
passed out, but I
watching
went back and rewatched the whole thing.
And the next day on my show, this is all we talked about. And Zach sent me this video. Flaccid Phoenix put music to it eventually. And this Hunter J and the BVS stream are the three things that we cannot.
Yeah, I was just talking about that.
Also, Zach's had a stream where Flaccid Phoenix was talked down to about his lack of degrees. And so the running joke is he's Ken of the Phoenix, because that's when he was playing up the whole Barbie and Ken thing. And so anytime he shows up in the chat, we put sheeps in the chat because he was referred to as a sheep. So there are about 4 streams that are iconic that we all talk about all the time. That live on forever. And now every time you see Flaccid Phoenix in a chat, you just see sheeps. That's it.
So this it's important that we talked about this, and this is why Zach knows me. Like we talked today back and forth a couple of times because I kept saying we've got to figure out how to get our schedules in sync because we totally see. Yeah. Again, for those of you at home, I don't know where you're at in this whole journey. Maybe you'll never do channels or whatever, but what we're doing and we're experiencing these streams and these moments is imagine ourselves a year, 5 years, whatever. Maybe I'll just be old and be like, remember that time, Cannoli, with the freaking Irene and the ceiling fan? So like, what the heck is Pops talking about now?
What? That was like 30 years ago.
we still talk about it all the time. Sometimes I'm doing a show and randomly R.I.P. Irene will show up in my chat.
R.I.P. Irene. See another shirt right there. Hashtag R.I.P. Irene. I'm going to tweet that right now.
Yeah, you have to monetize it and you just have to laugh at it.
We have so much fun though. It's honestly like going out every night with a group of your favorite people and just hanging out and laughing. I absolutely love just the laughs. Literally, I've been brought to tears by Circle of Jerks and then Tim's after stream because it's so late at night that it just doesn't matter. And they just don't hold back, and I can't. It's just hysterical.
You do have to turn things like we did for our Wonka stream, right? Everybody loves the movie.
Oh
it's a
my
classic.
gosh!
But it's like, how do we stretch this? And then Vex came with her ideas.
Oh my gosh!
How do I say Wonka being an agent of a certain government in the 40s in Germany?
Wasn't it a painter? Austria,
the famous painter. Austrian painter, like soldier. And we turned it into this exhibit thing where she's like, I have exhibit A. This is example 1, exhibit B. And we made it a running show. There was a judge
and a jury and this whole thing.
And the panel didn't expect that, but they went with it. And we had a 2.5-hour stream that was one of my favorites we've ever done.
It was great.
That's what I mean. You got to learn how to adapt too. But that's what I mean. Stuff like this, I never would have been doing 2 years. I never would have thought about doing this stuff. And look what I'm doing now. So it's fantastic.
It's so much fun. It's so great to do that.
It is.
Yeah. We'll go closer towards the finish line by asking, what does it mean when we let her cook?
Ah!
That's an ego. Okay, so when we had the again, this BVS stream, man, it keeps coming up. So when we had the BVS stream at the end, I had Ego on as another lover of the Snyderverse, right? I brought him on purpose, so there was another ally for the said person that was on. And he got to the point where even he was like, I can't help defend this anymore. Like you're going.
Can I tell you too? He respected his friends on the panel so much. He did not appreciate the way they were being treated, that he backed up his opinion.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is getting out of hand. I have respect for my friends.
So like Pops was saying, where the passion gets too far, Ego had the passion, but we had fun with it. Like he even admitted the faults, right?
So didn't he wear a cooking hat, like a chef's hat? He brought a pot.
Yeah, that was So it was funny because his thing was like, Cannoli, just let him cook, man. Let him cook. And so to this day, still that's the ongoing joke. From
actually, the joke is they said let him cook on that stream, and then Ego came back for another stream, and that's when
The
he
chef
wore the
hat and
chef's
the
hat
apron.
and he
Yep.
bought the
Let him
pot.
cook. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it was.
So
Yep.
funny, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
That's
All
why
right.
you got to love these people. They just, you know what? You just have to learn to have fun with it and understand there's differences of opinions and just learn to laugh.
have fun.
Nobody
Just
laughs
laugh.
anymore. Everybody's offended. Everybody has to die on that hill. It's like just enjoy and have friends. And because of that
let 'em
mentality,
cook.
this is why we have a good group of people.
And see, I love the fact that because at some point we will have talked about these movies, especially the good ones, so
good
many
ones.
times.
Mhm.
I almost want to be on the show just to try to defend BVS. You know what I mean? I don't even like the movie, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I almost like, yeah, I'll take
We'll
that
let you
challenge.
cook, Pops. We'll
Vex
let you
does
cook.
that.
Yeah.
Vex does that. She'll do that.
Oh, I
on
know
purpose.
she does. Oh, we would
She's like, "I'm gonna
we would
defend
have
it
to
even though I hate it."
secretly be in cahoots to be like defending the lake house or something. It would be something like that. Oh, you got to get Pops on. He loves that movie.
He loves that movie.
That would be a red flag, probably.
Yeah,
If it's
big time.
you would probably look at my list of movies. What I think Zach just said that. Yeah, Pops doesn't like this. It's so bad. That's a red flag. Like
massive red flag.
there's a gauge you can get with him. Like, oh yeah.
Right.
All right. So we'll end on a super high note.
Please.
And especially because, we don't. So in 2022, we got to discuss RRR, which I believe is, if it's not your biggest videos, they're among your biggest videos.
Yeah.
They are for me as well.
Yep.
Right. It didn't take in 2023. And I got so frustrated because Sisu is the RRR of 2023. But for some reason, it didn't have that sort of cultural phenomenon behind it, the country, those kinds of things. So I wanted to give your thoughts. I know you did a whole stream on this, but let's give your thoughts and plug for a movie that I thought was so interesting and daring in a year where most everything was long-winded. Even if it was good, it was drawn out for over 2 hours and bland and cookie cutter. It was just 2023 to me is such a it's going to be remembered as a very forgettable year in movies. It's just a whole bunch of like, this was good. This was good. It's like you got on one hand, we have these memorable movies. 2022 was like that. We only have a couple. It's like, how come Sisu, or what are your thoughts on Sisu and its legacy? And will we ever get to throw some gasoline on the old Sisu fire?
I love Sisu. I thought it was fantastic, and I know it. Maybe because it's a specific niche, that it's ultra violent. Maybe that has something to do with it. RRR had violence. Don't get me wrong, but
that's true.
That's RRR just was so unique because it had a little bit of everything you want. Right? It had the bromance. It had some action. It was very over the top. So the male audience was definitely going to be brought in on that. It had
dance sequence.
Dance sequences.
That was
it had a
so
love
good.
story.
Well done.
It had a love story. So Sisu really is just straightforward. It's like
That's
I said,
true.
it's very,
Okay. That's all
very
fair.
violent. I think that's why. But I love Sisu. I did a review on it because I had so much fun watching it, and it's I miss movies like that where it's just, this is what you get. It's a good guy trying to stop the bad guys. It's a short movie. It doesn't try to over explain anything, and it's shot beautifully. I think that's why it didn't kind of.
Rambo's grandfather refuses to die. That's it, right there.
There you go.
Sassy, what is the one, besides the people you've met and things like that, but what is something for you personally that you now see in yourself, or that you've gotten out of doing this?
That people actually like me? No. I don't know that I can push
me. They really
I can
like
push the
me.
envelope. Like, I think my biggest success was my Barbie review. I mean, I had almost 9,000 views on that, and that was in the summer when I still had 200. I got 120 subs off of that and a ton of watch hours. And I think what I've learned from myself is that I like to push myself to see what I'm capable of. And I know I still have certain things that I can do, because sometimes I think you forget who you are when you become a mom, and when you're just invested in being a mom and a wife and working full time. This has kind of reminded me who I am, what I love, and I've kind of felt like a grown up again. doing grown-up things. And so it's taught me to also be honest and just put my opinion out there, accept criticism. I got my butt handed to me on the Barbie review, on the Little Mermaid review, and it's okay. And it's toughened me up a little bit, but at the same time, I'm okay with who I am, and I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I like pushing myself. This last weekend with the Wonka review, I did a different format. I really, really pushed myself to the point of tears, but I'm very proud of what I put out.
That's editing.
Oh yeah.
That's what editing does.
But, I go to the movies, I bring a notebook, I write down all my notes, I type a script, and, I don't have to do all this, but it's been a fun hobby. And I think what I've learned is that I love doing this. I've always loved talking to people, and I found people that'll listen. So,
Awesome.
and I like, other than the relationships that I have, but that's also really important to me because I have a really hard time connecting with people because I give a lot of myself and I get hurt and let down quite a bit because I give too much. But I've found a community that reciprocates. And that's actually been one of the biggest things that I've gotten out of all of this is feeling like I belong somewhere, and feeling like I'm part of a community has been really important because I'm a woman of a certain age and I don't really have a best friend, but I found a lot of really great companions in this community, and doing this has really showed me that there are still good, loving, caring people out there. And so I have to say that that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is that people do care about you and people will go to bat for you. And the support means a lot. And I think that's really warmed my heart a lot, is being accepted.
Awesome. All right. The last thing is I wanted to, I'm going to do something different in 2024. I didn't do this in 2023. I was a recommendation. I will keep them anonymous since they did not tell me if I could use their name or not. Did not know. I will allow the guest to ask me a question. How far that gets me or whatever. So I have two guests, so that's technically two questions. So I will let either of you. So I will let you guys ponder that. I don't know. It seemed like a obvious thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I never really thought about it. I never made it known that it'd be okay to ask me a question. I'm not shut off from that. So I'm like, that's interesting. I didn't think of it that way, but I thought, well, I'll make a point of doing that, and then we'll see how that evolves.
Is that because we do the Cannoli connection and we ask questions on our channel?
No,
it wasn't. It wasn't directed at you at all. It was like
just a new idea.
It was a comment on a comment on an older video, not one like the Loki was the last one, right? It was not. It was one from before, and it was a DM, and it just said, "I would have liked to see them ask you about this too, or I would have I wish they had, Anyway, it was not a criticism exactly. It was more like I wish they had asked you this question, or they had, and I was like, oh. Huh.
It was, and
of course, that arrives in December, so I can't really make massive changes in the course of the, So in 2024. Yes. So with that said, do either of you have a question for the old pops?
I have a question. So I know with the background that you have in this the industry, and have you ever thought I'm actually going to go put the pen to paper and write my own script for a TV series, a movie, a short movie? Like, do you actually have plans to do that in the future? You that ambitious to I can do better, especially given what the industry's been like for the last 5 years? Have you ever actually said, I'm going to create something myself?
So I have. I wrote a script. I did a lot of writing. This would be between 2003 and 2005 or 6.
Wow.
So yeah, a feature script, a couple shorts, couple things. One that got produced. Don't go back and read them again because I'm horrified at how bad and lack of technical skills I would have had during that era of my life, where I wouldn't have been willing to do the work at the craft to be better. Whereas now, as I'm older and I'm mature, that's the one thing I can appreciate now is how easy it is to level up with just attention. I'm a firm believer, if you pay attention to something, you can make it better. And I think that's in our job. If you have metrics at your job and they put it on the wall, that metric usually will just get better. And then whenever no one's being held accountable or paying attention to it, it goes back to being the way it will be naturally. You have to pay attention to certain things.
Yep.
I have a lot of ideas of things I would probably like to do. Even in my own worst enemy, if I got excited and did, I actually took an idea that I had with Chat GPT, and it's really good at taking like information and just like fleshing it out, like, you know what I mean, like an outline. It can take take this and just finish my sentence, make an outline, right? So it took like this much work and made it that big, but it's a project that needs to be like this big. So it didn't really move me along as fast as I had hoped. I would never be opposed to it. I would love to find someone who, I almost feel like I'm in a position in my life because I'm older. I do have the full-time job and I have all of this and other stuff. I'm probably in a position where I would be best to be maybe someone who would look at somebody's work to help them maybe prime it up a little bit, or look for loose holes, look for plot holes or issues, or someone to do like a co-story, maybe an artist that needed a writer or something like that. I think was probably a better, just being very self-aware where I'm at in my life and not ever wanting to do anything. I will never tell you I'll do something and not fulfill on it, or tell you if I can't do it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to ever just leave you hanging. So if you had that thing, because people have sent me stuff and I'm like, I'll look at them. A lot of times I don't really have anything to say back. So I've done some script notes. I actually had someone, I think it was actually probably, I don't know if it was in 22 or not. I did some script notes on some things. I don't think it was a project that was active. I think it was just somebody who just wanted something. I've had a couple people send me some like books, and I'm like, don't have time for that. I mean,
that's a lot of time.
So yeah, that's kind of where again, it's like a place in my life is the problem. Like it'd be different. You know what I mean? I think won't rule it out. There's stuff. There's stuff like that maneuvers around my head, but it's just like the T-shirt idea and everything else. Like as fast as it's here, it fleets out, and I don't get it. I don't get it to execution. So that's a good question, though. Thank you.
Thank you.
What about you, Mrs. Sassy?
Well, mine's not as exciting, Cannoli.
Hey,
Thanks
you
a
never
lot
know.
for stealing my
Never
thunder.
know.
I honestly, since this is a show at the beginning of 2024, what is one thing on your list that you want to accomplish with YouTube in 2024? Whether it's a specific type of show, a big guest, do you have something that you want to try differently in 2024 that maybe you haven't done? So any one of those questions.
Oh, okay. No, that is a very practical and interesting question in the way, because I definitely am. I pull everything everything has a different lever. So, for instance, I went into 24 to give myself permission to be less stressed about doing this.
Yeah.
So in 23, there were 44 Watch Your Stories, which include me alone, which I found to be the least interesting. And obviously, a lot of them have the least number of views. So I'm most likely probably the least, because they're not as conversational, right? That's not really what they're set out to be.
Right.
So I had to give myself permission to do less of them, to do, so each thing has a lever. So each thing is about trying to find the best cost benefit for each piece. So for instance, maybe Comic Talk needs to go to a different time of the day because it might be better served as a lead in to Loki's show, because he does a comic roundtable, even if it had to be a premiere, or whatever. Right. So something like that. Each thing has a different lever, and I may just try that as an experiment, right? Sure. I may try it and go, oh, that didn't really work, and I'll move it. So each piece. So Watch Your Story was about continuing the same, but maybe not being as YouTube journey as I was in 2023, 2023. So 24 would be similar maybe, but more. I thought this was an interesting dynamic that I hadn't really done yet. I hadn't done a married couple. I hadn't done people who had grown in, not just like, it's not about just numbers. I think it's grown in you, like you've changed, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted Watch Your Story to kind of evolve a little bit in a way that I can learn. Like, how can I also, like that's, I mean, I've told people I'm very selfish. I'm doing this also for myself. Like, I mean, I purposely want to just get stuff out of it for me too. I don't want to just randomly talk just to try to get an algorithm. Otherwise, I just chase down celebrities. I would just get their press release and I would just chase them down and do that and just ride the algorithm for. I'm not interested in that. So each piece to me is its own cog in a wheel of doing that.
Yeah,
I don't
like
think
it.
about
Makes sense.
big guests. I don't even try.
Yeah. I
to a
didn't know if you
fault.
had somebody on the horizon that you're like, well, I really want to talk to this person or interview that, or if they had something big coming out
Yeah.
that, you know,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I need to have Culture Casino back because we had a great hour and a half conversation, and the YouTube blames me. I blame YouTube. I went in and the file wasn't there. StreamYard appears to have deleted the file. I get blamed for deleting the file. We went through an hour and a half conversation. It was a great conversation.
boy.
And it's gone. So my goal would be during 24 that gets replaced. That gets a pin on the wall.
Good idea.
As far as guests go, that's probably the one that got away from me, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, look, I'm a fan of many people that we talked about today that you guys also are probably fans of as well. I don't want to ever be rehashing, like, some of those people would be the same conversation. So I would like,
Right.
I would really want to have Gary on to just talk comic books.
You guys would have a great
I can
conversation.
imagine.
I would
Yeah.
love that.
You know, Gary, can you come on and let's just talk about Frank Miller Daredevil for 2 hours.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's something that would be like a piece. Let me have Az on to just talk about Nightfall.
Well, make
You know what
that
I mean?
your goal for 2024. See if you
Something
can
like
get
that.
them on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Okay. I'll take it as a challenge to kind of throw it out there, but I'm not. I guess. I don't
It's
know.
not
I don't
something you're
explain.
seeking necessarily. I get it.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, it's one of those things. I think if the door kind of creeped open, but I'm not going to be. I'm also not a big chaser. I know this sounds
me
crazy.
either. It's icky. It's cringy to be a chaser.
It's
That's
one
the
thing
thing.
to
like,
ask, but not to be like overbearing and be like, "Hey, are you going to come on? Are you going?" to It's like, nah.
Right.
You don't want to
Yeah.
be that person to where that you just it's uncomfortable. Like, you know, like last night, Beardo was begging to be a mod on Cannoli's channel. I'm like, all right, already, I'll get you. Come back in the chat. No,
Right.
but the thing is I've taken the time to formulate these relationships, and I needed a co-host on one of my Friday night shows. Fear the Beardo bailed me out because I built these relationships, and I actually genuinely like the people. So it's worked out well, but you do have those other YouTubers that just chase out these bigger interviews because they want the clout for their channel. I actually enjoy talking to these people. So I think there's a difference too on you and Gary would have a great conversation.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, I
fun-
don't.
Really
I don't
would
even
love that.
care about the clout. But
Right, but I think some people
mean,
do it for that reason.
Just
I
the
don't
conversation.
even. I know this is a hot take. I don't think I would be good on FNT. That
me
would be
either.
a bad scene for Pops. I will just be Avatar for about an hour and a half.
I would
You guys let me know when you're
I would
done.
panic.
You know what I mean?
Is it over yet?
However, I am genuine in saying I would love to hang out with Gary and talk about like something very specific about a
Yeah,
certain
you
type
guys
of
would be great
Of course,
together.
something like that. Like Jay is different.
Right.
I'm cut from a very similar cloth. We're actually very similar men. When my wife met him, she was just kind of like, oh, because we talked about religion for like 10 or 15 minutes. Like it was a very cut from a similar cloth kind of dynamic. And I respect how busy he is because I too am very, very busy.
Yeah.
I think that answers your question, even though it probably runs deeper and wider in different ways.
It's good. I think you have some good goals for 2024. It sounds like you want to tighten up some things and you want to put your energy, much like all of us do, into the things that work better for you, and you want to maximize the time that you have. We don't have a lot of time to do YouTube. So every moment you put into it, you want to make it count. So I get that. Yeah.
And I'm really I don't want to get burned out because I mean, hence the reason I taken a vacation from Batman animated series, which I will defend and
Still
talk about.
finishing,
If
by
you
the
want
way.
me on a show, I'd be more than happy to talk about it. But I don't want to get burned out on it, right? I don't want to keep pounding away. I did a whole year, basically, a whole year of that, right? So it's about trying to find things that bring me joy and happy. Because I will be more than happy to sit through the shows. Some people don't have to. I do that. I don't.
Well, the problem is if you're burnt out and you're not happy, it shows in the delivery of your content. And then it's just, what are you
You're
doing?
not having fun. That's not. You're missing the whole point of that. Time.
Right. Yeah, I have a job. I have a boss, and I go home to
here.
lady boss. So I don't need more negativity of having YouTube boss, making me.
I get
You
it.
know, these daytime jobs they really get in the way, don't they? Our 9 to 5s.
It's in a way of my retirement. So any of you want to keep sending some massive super chats to help me
Right.
retire faster?
I'm with you,
Mrs.
buddy.
Pops will actually, she'll help you. Yeah,
Right.
she'll make you a mod because she would overrule me to go, oh, if he's paying the mortgage. No, but guys, thank you, guys, Sasquatches,
Appreciate it.
the Yetis. Thanks so much for doing this and hanging out.
Of
It's
course.
going to be a
Of course.
blast. Yeah, I have another interview coming up that I'm recording, so I don't know which I'm going to do first because you want to try to find that right balance of what would be timely or whatever. But
Sure.
it may be a very surreal conversation, folks, because as you're sitting through this, it could be 2, 3, 4 weeks before they see the final product, and that's kind of weird in life. I've done these before where it's kind of like, wow, that was kind of weird because this is yeah. There you go. But it's been such a blessing. I can't thank you guys so much for doing this, and good luck to both of you. I really care about you, and it's awesome
you,
to see
buddy.
how far you've come.
Thank you so much. This was a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting us. I know
Yeah.
it's long overdue, but we finally made it.
Finally
That's
made
awesome.
it work.
Folks in chat, make sure you check out to all the little links and stuff like that. Make sure you're subscribed and the bells are on, all that. And just, you know what? Go down the library, have some fun. It's just, there's crazy stuff for everyone. Like, it doesn't really matter where you kind of have a like or dislike. And maybe just hate watch a couple if you don't like that, you know. And
Sure.
I got to be honest, give Cannoli credit though. He's got like a massive gambit of movies. Like it, you know,
Wide range, yeah.
there is some of the greats, and then there is
A lot of
flaming
bad.
heap of dog pile. It's bad. So it's there. But folks, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you every week hanging out and doing this kind of thing with the I Am Pops. Take care. Till next time.